Brightly beams our Father's mercy from his lighthouse evermore, but to us he gives the keeping of the lights along the shore. Dark the night of sin has settled, loud the angry billows roar. Eager eyes are watching, longing for the lights along the shore. Trim your feeble lamp, my brother, some poor seaman, tempest tossed, trying now to make the harbor in the darkness may be lost. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fainting, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may save. That's from a older but really good hymn that we sing sometimes. And it was written by a man who was actually in a town where a minister had heard about this huge wreck that had happened because the lower lamps of the lighthouse weren't burning. And so back in those days, you had a lighthouse that obviously helped guide ships into the harbor, but you also had these lower lights along the harbor that helped send light in some of the dark places as they approached the harbor so they wouldn't run into rocks. And so if those lower lights weren't burning, then you could see the lighthouse, of course, but it couldn't reach everywhere. And so you would hit some dark spots going into the harbor, and this one ship just crashed into a huge rock, and a lot of passengers passed away. And so there was a man who was sitting in a Sunday service where the preacher mentioned this incident, and he tied it to the fact that, hey, we need to make sure as Christians that we always keep the lower lights burning so that those who are out there trying to find their way in know where to go and know what's ahead. This week for the My Family Devotionals, it's talking about making our homes a safe harbor and what we can do to help make our homes and our families a safe place that people can be. And there's a lot of different things that we could go on and talk about with this. But he mentions a lot of great stuff in the Devo. So go back through and read his Devo for this week. And he talks about some really specific ways that we can make our homes a safe harbor for our families. But he mentions on yesterday's devotional 3 key things that we can do. And he's talking specifically about fathers. And he takes the passage from Ephesians 5-6, where it gives instructions to fathers and mothers. But he lists 3 things that we need to do that can make our homes a safe harbor. Is love, nourish, and nurture. And if we spend time when our kids are young to when they go out on their own, trying to show them love, to nourish and nurture them, then we can build some pretty safe harbors in our homes, I think. And what that looks like at each stage of our kids' lives are going to be very, very different, right? The way I love, nourish, and nurture my 1-year-old daughter right now is different than how, if you're watching this and you have a 25-year-old daughter, how you love, nourish, and nurture her. And every stage in between that comes, it's going to look different. So, I mean, we could spend a whole seminar on how to do this, probably. But maybe spend some time for yourself thinking, okay, in this moment right now, how can I spend time showing love, trying to nourish and trying to nurture my children, and let them know that no matter how rough the world can get out there, that they always have a safe harbor to return to. A place where even if they aren't shown love, even if they aren't nourished and nurtured the way they should be out in the world, that they have a place that they can come to, and that they know that that's going to be the case. That they know that that's what they're going to experience when they come back home. And one of those, especially for our kids that are younger, my good friend and author, Brad Montague, always said he was the director, is the director at Mid South Youth Camp, and was the director while I was a counselor there. And he always told us that kids spell love Time. Um, that if you want to show your kids love, and specifically for these kids who come through our camp gates, if you want to show them love, no matter, we had them from 8 to 18 years old, so we had a huge range of kids, of age range. But he said, doesn't matter. If you want to show them love, they are going to spell love Time. The more time, intentional time you spend trying to be with them, that's where they're going to know love the most. So how can we spend more time with our kids to show that we love them, and in that way help nourish and nurture them? Again, go through and read. He has some really good stuff from this week. But how, if we spend time focusing in on those three things, we can always be a home that has, even though we're not actually a harbor, we can always be a home that always has the front lights on, telling our children that they are welcome anytime, and that this is going to be a place where love, nourish, and nurturing is going to happen. And of course, none of that can happen if we try to separate it from a relationship with our God. And of course, we can't show them true love. We can't show them true nourishment. We can't show them true uh, nurturing if we don't show how that is all based in our relationship with Christ. And so that has to be first and foremost, and then everything else springs from that. So hopefully that helped you as you try to find ways to make your home a safe harbor this week and all the weeks to come. If there's anything you need, please reach out, and we'll be here to help you in any way we can.